Why American women's are undateable. No one wants to play with a porcupine. Or how did Barbarossa say? The juice ain't worth the squeeze. That's right. I don't even want to go on dates anymore. They just feel like a chore. I heard this from my 24-year-old male patient this week. I hear it frequently from men everywhere. I hear it in bars, at professional conferences, over coffee at lunch. I hear it because American women's have become undateable. Now, to go to the first point, the guy that said just feels like a chore, that's how you know that if you're ever at a point in the relationship, and this applies to men and women, mind you, if you have a date coming up and you basically just view it as a job, like, I don't want to go, but I promised I'd go. Like, I'd rather do anything else but go on this date and go through that relationship's pretty much done. If that's how you feel about hanging out with the other person, save yourselves the trouble and just call it off. I say. Another thing you can do is crank one out right before the date and see if you're still excited for it. If not, then all you're feeling is lust, most likely, and lust fades away real quick. But in general, as a man, I can kind of give you my perspective here. If I was still going around looking for a partner, I'd want someone that would complement my own skills, abilities, whatever. Like someone who, like, I'd support her, she'd support me. What we get now is a lot more confrontational, I guess. Like they always say, "Oh, you just can't handle a strong, opinionated woman." No, it's not a matter of can't handle. It's a matter of, why would I voluntarily invite someone into my life that's just going to add conflict and drama and nothing else? I don't need more conflict and drama in my life. If all you're going to do is fight me and argue with me on every little thing, I don't want you anywhere near me. Yeah, basically, unless you're improving my life in some way, why would I voluntarily deal with you? And I think a lot of men are realizing that. Like they're realizing that if they want to have sex, they could get that via one night stands, and they don't need a committed relationship for it. And they're realizing that all their relationships they've been in, they're more downsides to positives, and they're I just don't need this in my life. So American women today suffer from a combination of emotional and characterologic pathology that renders them unfit to be romantic partners to men. It's true. This guy he's got the MD on his name, man. He's I think he's a psychologist. So on the emotional side, they are angry, anxious, and dysregulated. Men find them exhausting and not at all fun to be around. That is key right there. It's not even neutral. It's just being around you pisses me off. In addition to their unpleasant emotions, men must also contend with their toxic personality traits, narcissism, ingratitude, and overbearing and judgmental attitude that appears to be constant. Because it is. American women's approach dating as a fact and fault-finding mission with a degree of arrogance that can only come from a profound absence of self-awareness. Dude, this guy is just dropping them truth bombs. Now, they have no idea what their role is in the encounter or how to properly support the man who's leading the date. They act as saboteurs rather than facilitators. Most men have tired of this. Yeah, that's pretty much what I just said, isn't it? Like they're just there to fight, to argue, to nag. Like why would I voluntarily put myself through that? No, unless you're a net positive on my life, I don't want you in it. Yeah, right now, like the problem is women are too busy trying to be men. If I wanted to date a man, I'd be gay. All right. So if you're a woman and you take pride in all your masculine qualities, we're not going to get along very well. At least not romantically, anyway. Certainly, the failings of men play their own role in the dating disaster of today's America. Yeah, to be fair, it's not like men are perfect. Look at all the soy boys out there. What counts as a man nowadays definitely has his issues. I've written about these failings extensively here in my first book, United States of Fear. Yeah, no, watch. Like, this guy is probably going to get a lot of crap for pointing out women have many flaws. And yet, when he points out, look, I already shat on men earlier, no one's going to care. Oh, but you said sexist things about women. No, masculinity is in decline in the West. Yes, it is. Without no, actually, no. I will do. I'll issue a correction. Masculinity is in decline in men in the West. However, the women are more than making up for it. They've never been more masculine than they are today. Without it, dating cannot be successful. Strength, courage, mastery, and honor are essential traits of masculinity. Well, women are definitely trying to co-opt some of them. According to Jack Donovan, the author of The Way of Men, a few men display those traits today. That's absolutely true. Yet equally few women display the essential traits of femininity either. Yeah, they've swapped places. Men have taken up the flag of femininity, and women have taken up the flag of masculinity. No, Donovan explains that to find a woman's desirable, man requires nothing more than for her to be pretty, carefree, and charming. Those standards are way too high for current year American women's. No, today's American women cannot even meet that expectation. I mean, you guys remember that meme we got? That like the woman comes out, oh, I want a guy. He's got to be at least 6 feet tall, have a 6-figure job, have a 6-inch penis. You have all these freaking requirements. And then a guy is like, I just want her to not be fat and not be a bitch. Misogynist! How dare you? That's the environment us guys are living in right now. Yeah, need to have a 6-pack too. Yep. Can't forget the 6-pack. I went to dinner recently at a restaurant in Westwood near the UCLA campus. I'm sorry. Every customer appeared to be a university student. I noticed a group of girls walk past me as they got up from their table. They all looked and dressed alike: oversized t-shirts, baggy jeans, non-styled hair, no makeup. They appeared to be poorly dressed boys. Did you just assume their gender, you bigot? I turned to the women's I was with and commented, they don't look attractive at all. And she replied, that's the current style. I don't think they're trying to look attractive. Yeah, and to be fair, I can see this. Like, if they're not there to look attractive, okay, fine. They look attractive on social media. They look attractive when they go to dating apps. They just out hanging out with their friends, not trying to pick up a man. Like, I can actually sympathize with women there. Like, like if you already got a man or you're not actively looking for one, like there's no reason for you to always be in like peak physical condition whenever you're around any stranger on the planet. So I won't fault them for that. But as usual, there's probably going to be more to this story, I bet. So, observing the rest of the young women's around me, I saw that she was right. Most of the others resembled them. Appearance, though, is not the only way in which American women's are not trying to be attractive. No, in fact, they're putting effort into being as ugly as possible, inside and out. Yeah, this is a conscious effort on their part. So the typical American women's today projects limitless entitlement, ruthless competitiveness, and advanced emotional incontinence that makes it all but impossible for men to tolerate her, much less enjoy her company. That's been another joke. Like a response of women like, oh, I'm more than just a pretty face and a pair of tits. Like, yeah, and that more is what we put up with to get access to that pretty face and that pair of tits. But even those aren't worth it anymore. Now, a recent Instagram video that went viral showed a French man walking the streets of LA explaining how he just walked out on his first date at a restaurant with a local women's after observing that her lengthy food restrictions and preferences eliminated nearly every option on the menu. Au revoir, Jennifer, he concluded. An American women's living in Russia posted a thread of complaints on social media after failing to get a second date with any local man after 6 months in Moscow. Oh, don't worry, girlfriend. The problem is clearly not you. The problem is the entire rest of the world. The one man told me at the end of the first date that I wasn't attractive enough for him to go out with a second time. I reminded him that I earn more money than him and have a better apartment, an apartment that I pay for with my own income. Yeah. And then you wonder why you're single. Yes, this is what I've been telling guys about. Like these women project the qualities that they look for in a man. They try to become a man and assume men look for the same thing. Really, if a woman tries to power trip like this on you, like that's instant deal breaker for me. Like, yeah, I'm really not into you. Yeah, well, I make more money than you. And how much of that money am I gonna get if we were together? Yeah, that's right, zero. So what does it matter to me? I have my own money. I have my own house. I have my own car. I don't need yours too. I'm here talking to you to see if I could get something I can't take care of myself. And you actively refuse to do it. So no, we're done here. There's no need for any further discussion. No additional comments made it clear that she was entirely unaware of the expectations of local men regarding both feminine dress and body habitus, and that Russian men couldn't care less what she makes or how nice her apartment is. American men don't either. They might pretend to because they've been trained, but they don't actually care. Nobody cares. So they want a pretty, charming, carefree woman and aren't hesitant to say so to her face. American men want the same thing, but don't have the clarity of mind or the courage to say no. They don't have the balls to say so. They have become pussified. Yeah, you used the word, yes. That is the best description. That is exactly right. You got these American soy boys that are settling for the aggressive warthogs, and you could tell they're miserable, but they're not going to say it. They're too scared. So I believe the root cause of the problem in American women's is environmental. It's a problem of bad values. That's true. That's true. There's a lot of guys like in MGTOW that they rip on all women, but of all things, actually suffering leads to growing up well in a lot of cases. It depends on what kind, obviously. But like, for example, you got not even women, you got girls in the third world that by the time they're like 10, 11, 12 years old, they're already basically second mommy for the household, taking care of all of their younger siblings, walking a few miles to fetch water and whatnot, doing hard physical labor, not having anything handed to them. Like they're more mature at like 12 or 13 than your average American women's is at 35. And it's because of the environment they grew up in. Yeah, like if you raise an entire generation of women in a country and tell them that they're God's gift to humanity, that they're perfect the way they are, they're special, everyone loves them, they're perfect little princesses, they're going to act like that. And if you treat them that way long enough, they're never going to stop acting like that. And the women's in this country have been taught that looks don't matter, that career is more important than family, that men are either dangerous or weak and incapable, and that the world would be a better place if only women's were in charge. Yeah, dude. How awesome would it be? How quickly would your plumbing get done if women were doing everything? Better Bachelor covered this article too, and he actually had a damn good point that like literally every necessary profession that keeps society running is already primarily done by men. So the only thing we really need women for is reproduction, obviously. But outside of that, men could get along just fine without women if it wasn't for the need to propagate the species and all that. But it doesn't seem to be the case the other way around, because all these strong, independent women can't seem to survive without government handouts, which are taken from men. Everything they are taught is wrong. Everything they're taught is a lie. And the ones that realize this too late don't get listened to by the younger ones. And the fault lies with schools, media, feminazism, and parents. I agree. These institutions and individuals have corrupted their minds, their emotions, and their characters. They have trained Waymans to live in a fantasy world of us versus them, where the me is more important than the we. And that is why they're so insufferable right there. Now, where one's feelings dictate truth and goodness and even virtue itself. Although, never mind when other people's feelings conflict with yours, only yours are important. These toxic teachings have rendered Whammons developmentally arrested and incapable of adult partnerships with men. The hard truth, man, directly from a psychiatrist. So this tragedy harms not only men, but Whammons. Men need Whammons, but, for reproduction. But so do Whammons need men for everything else. Despite what feminazism has taught, American men today have largely decided they would simply rather be alone than continue to feel battered and exhausted by an unending stream of bad dates with unpleasant Whammons. And it's even worse if you end up, getting chained to one of them. You put a ring on it and she turns into a banshee, right after the honeymoon. No healthy person wants to play with a porcupine. And this is a very good explanation of why MGTOW exists and why it's not going to go away. They could ban the term. They could ban people talking about it. But no, I hear oftentimes a lot of feminists, they come out and they say, oh, MGTOW is just like the male version of feminism. No, it's not. There's a big difference. Feminism couldn't exist without the government forcing it on everybody under threat of violence. And if the government wasn't funding it using money they stole from us. MGTOW's different. Like most guys that find out, that eventually learn about MGTOW, they didn't even know about the term. They didn't even know there was a term for it. They've just been living that way for years. It's just like the herbivore men in Japan, in that, like, a large chunk of the male population independently come to the same conclusion. There is no centralized organization spreading propaganda, turning them against women like there is with feminism. It's really just observation. Like, all these individual guys just look out and they see what's happening to their friends, their fathers, their uncles, their brothers. They think about their own personal experiences. Like the guy at the beginning of this article just didn't feel like dating anymore. It feels like a chore. That's what happens. Guys are given a raw deal, and the deal's getting worse by the minute. And the worse the deal gets, the more men wake up to how bad the deal is. And it doesn't matter how they try to censor it. It doesn't matter how they try to spin it. They can't hide this. Unlike feminism, because, their ideas are so good, you need the government forcing them at gunpoint. Am I right? No, we don't have that same problem on the other side. So it's been funny watching them cope. But I think I'm finally seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. Way too many men are waking up at this point for this to be able to continue much longer. And as for what happens, well, let's just say we're firmly in the weak men create hard times section of the cycle. So buckle up, man. It's going to be quite a ride.